Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rest and Heal's how-to video series. Today, we have my brother on. His name is Richard Roop. He's a vaccine researcher, and he's going to talk to us about how to feel confident getting a vaccine. He's got a great background for talking about this. He spent 18 years in the clinical research industry, 10 of those running vaccine research studies on stuff like measles, mumps, rubella, shingles. He's got a great body of knowledge. So, Richard, I think let's just start with the basics. There's a lot of consternation out there right now about getting vaccines with the COVID vaccines and the boosters and all that. Let's just start with what is a vaccine and what are we actually putting into our bodies in very basic layman's terms.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So the idea of presenting a virus to the body in terms of defense goes back to the 18th century. And so over the centuries now, we've perfected the technologies that we can do that with. So we've been through various different types of vaccines. You're seeing now that they're even coming up to the mRNA level now. So each step in this progression is supposed to make the vaccine easier to get incorporated into the body's immune system, as well as less side effects for the patient. So this most recent set of vaccines is probably the most advanced set of vaccines we've had. And they're really no different than any of the previous vaccines in terms of safety and efficacy. So that's what the clinical trials process is set up to do, is evaluate safety and efficacy of the vaccine.
Let's talk a little bit about that process. So how much has a vaccine been tested before it actually goes into the formal clinical trial process that you were a part of?
Yeah, so it depends on how fast you go through the regulatory process. Some of the COVID studies are going really fast, but normally you're talking about maybe a 10-year development period going back to using animals as a first indicator of whether their immune systems show response to a particular aspect of the vaccine that you're interested in bringing about. So this is all built through safety. So safety is paramount throughout this whole process. The first set of clinical trials has to do completely with safety. You're using a small group of people that are relatively healthy, and you're seeing whether when they receive the vaccine, if there are any side effects of that vaccine. So you're cataloging every single safety event that occurs at the first lowest level. And then as you move through the process, you're building in even more safety and eventually efficacy to see if you can determine via certain blood markers whether the vaccine is actually giving you the protection that it's supposed to. So that you may hear that generally referred to as a titer. So your titers can indicate how successful your body was at incorporating the vaccine into your immune system, so that when you're exposed to that antigen again, you have a robust response to it.
And so do you feel like the process in your 10 years of experience doing this, did you see a lot of process improvements? Do you feel like the industry is getting better and better and better at doing this?
Yeah. And I think that, the push to get the pandemic under control has led people to even try and, cut down the time into clinical trials, not necessarily on the patient side, but on the administrative side. So what you see on our side of the business is a lot of internal discussions about budgets and so forth. And so when you strip away that and you're just looking at get the clinical conduct of the study done, that's a huge process improvement, because that cuts down your time from new chemical entity, which is the level at which you're starting the process, to approval. So now we're engaging regulators earlier, getting their buy-in about what the safety data looks like. We want them to be fully aware of what the candidate vaccine looks like from the ground up. So those types of process improvements allow companies such as Pfizer and Novavax and all those big companies to have a faster time to get approval, which means in a pandemic situation that you get your treatment to the population that is most impacted by it more quickly.
I know a lot of people worried that taking this vaccine would impact other, systems of the body, like the reproductive system. That was a big theme that people were worried about with their children, that it might somehow impact their fertility. And, I can understand that worry as a mom. It's like, okay, we don't want to put anything in our children's bodies that maybe is not, we don't know everything about. But given your experience working with vaccines, like what are your thoughts on that?
So as I mentioned, safety is built in from the beginning. So one of the best ways to identify any changes that might have come about by the vaccine are to do blood work, physical exams. Certain trials may have scans if there's an area of concern. So as you start in phase 1, you're cataloging what you're seeing in terms of reactions to the vaccine. That gives the development people the opportunity to say, okay, well, we see this particular effect, so we're going to continue to monitor that. And here's how we're going to monitor that. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. So if there is a concern, like a fertility concern, or if you can narrow that down into like maybe not producing eggs on a regular basis, like a normal menstrual cycle would,
right,
then that would be something you try to follow all along through your development process to identify whether there's an effect there, or it may have just been a one-off for a patient. So in a smaller study, you have 10 patients, you may see that in 2. But as you move through larger studies and more people being exposed to in trials to this vaccine, you'll be able to kind of cull the different effects that you're seeing and focus directly on the ones that impact the patients the most.
All right, last question, because you've been in this industry for a really long time. Pharmaceutical companies have kind of bad reputations as evil pharma. And so just from your perspective, how do you feel? How do you feel about that? Are pharma companies evil?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that reputation, and I think it's born of the sales and marketing side of things. What I've seen in the development side is that people are very engaged with wanting to help fellow man. People that in development don't really consider how much money a pharmaceutical company can make off something. What they're mainly interested in is getting a safe, effective product to the people that need it. And so you'll be on internal calls in these companies for products, not only vaccines, but drugs. And you hear that concern of like, are we doing the best thing for our patients? And there are certain internal slogans that companies follow around that particular point. We want to get the best medicine to the people as fast as we can. So while I understand that there is a derogatory kind of conception of the marketing and sales side of things, I have never seen anything but dedicated people on the pharma side, on the development side, trying to get these products to the people that need them.
That's awesome. And I think that's an important perspective to hear because, it's coming from someone that's actually been on the inside and has worked beside these people day in and day out. So Richard, you're awesome. Thank you so much for all of your great information. To all of our viewers, thank you for watching. Please visit our website, restandheal.com. Give us feedback on what you want to hear about next. Check out all of our great gift packages that support women, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.